Hey YouTubers, and today we have a really big Dragon Ball discussion for you today. Today I'm actually joined by TheFrozenParticle, or Nathan. You want to say hello, man?
Hello guys, and welcome back to yet another video. Happy to be here, Mark.
Good to have you. We actually have Dimzy's domain here. You want to say hello, Dimzy?
You're right, everyone.
Alright, and next and last, finally, we have Gary. Formerly BYG Gary, now BYG Aigami. You want to say hello?
Yeah, what's up, man? Thank you guys for having me.
Okay, so right now we're going to talk about this is going to be more of like a rant video than any type of discussion or anything. We're just going to be talking about the things that we really dislike about Dragon Ball Super thus far. And a lot of things in the community, a lot of people have been talking about how the community is just going way out of its way to support Super so far, which has been like somewhat of a very unrealistic or really unexciting franchise at this point. Very unexciting series with basically showing like two arcs of the movies that we already saw, and now we're going into Universe 6 that has exciting points but also has a lot of stuff going against it if you really start to think about it. And just to like tell you what we're going to do, we're not really going to be talking about animation or anything like that. I think that stuff's been talked to death. We all know that Super has had animation problems throughout its entire run. So we're just going to be talking about arc by arc, the big problems that we've had with all this stuff that we've seen thus far, and kind of just go from there. So with that being said, we're going to start with Dragon Ball Super, the Battle of Gods arc. And I'm going to just throw it over to Dimzy because he said he had something really important to say on that.
Well, it's not really too actually is important. Although the Battle of Gods arc was a very good arc in general, the main gripe I have is the inclusion of the Pilaf crew, who amounted to absolutely nothing. They were useless. Now, my main problem started off with Dragon Ball Super did not show the wish for them when they were younger, whereas the movie did. So why the hell, if you have an anime series, why the hell would you not show the actual wish for Pilaf and his crew to become younger? And other than that, is simply how the Pilaf crew amounted to nothing, where they had a specific episode dedicated purely to them, and yeah, they were just useless. Maybe also in terms of how, and this is retrospective thinking right now, because at that time I didn't think that was the case, but when Beerus and Goku were fighting and we see a few destruction on the planets and them being touted as universe busters, now that kind of made everything go out of whack. But yeah, that's just pretty much my point of the Battle of Gods arc. Other than that, it was excellent. What about you? Whoever wants to take the floor, you may input.
I'll go off of that. In terms of what we saw in like Dragon Ball Super with the Pilaf gang, the one problem I really have with the Pilaf gang right now is the fact that Super doesn't really, it has a very, very comedic tone, but it doesn't necessarily understand who that they want to give that tone to. I mean, with the very first episode of Super, they had the classic Goten Trunks adventure, very funny, very lighthearted and everything. The second episode, they gave Vegeta a whole lot of jokes and a whole lot of like family time and everything, and that was fine and everything. And even Goku has had a bunch of laughs, and I thought like, if they're going to reintroduce the Pilaf gang, it's nothing but a joke. I mean, they were there at the very beginning. They're the first main antagonists of the entire series, and reintroducing them, especially as kids, as children, keeps them relevant and keeps them in a comedic tone. The problem with it going forward is they've been very much underutilized. Like you said, they haven't really explained why they're kids yet, and it's just really obnoxious that they would allow it. They would have us have to watch the movie and then rewatch the series of a story they're retelling and not even mentioning that unless there was some reason that they're not mentioning it, which I do believe, but that's neither here nor there in this video. And then the problem with them is you can't keep telling these people coming out and being like, okay, well, one thing is this and one thing is that, and they're just like, okay, you can't have this person be comedic relief and then have this person be comedic relief the next episode. You have a comedic relief character throughout, and if it's going to be the Pilaf gang, it very much well should be the Pilaf gang, and they shouldn't be taking one thing or another and just having it go that way. Nathan, you want to chime in on this a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. The Pilaf gang, I think they kind of shifted gears, especially Toriyama, and I think that that's kind of a reason why Jocko is sort of a big comedic sort of role in the Resurrection F arc, is that like, I think they sort of removed the Pilaf gang to just sort of move to Jocko, which you know, to a certain extent is alright because, you know, Jocko is a way more interesting character and he's new and fresh, but they at least need to complete the character arc for the Pilaf gang. Why did they turn into kids? It does really bother me. But yeah, Gary, do you have anything to say, man?
No, I agree with you on that about the Jocko thing, on how he's new and fresh, and they really didn't implicate him as much as they did in the anime, because in the movie they didn't do it that much.
Yeah, the movie did a better job introducing the Pilaf gang than anything else. And the problem with him is, like, yeah, Jocko is our new main comedic relief character, and of course, like, we'll get to it, but for Katsuno F tried to still do Gotenks and Goten and Trunks as a comedic relief. They tried the Pilaf gang. They even brought back Ginyu to be a comedic relief character. It just has this very weird comedic tone. It's like they're trying to be funny, but at the same time, it's just like they're meddling it. There's just too much going on and too many jokes being told at once, and it's completely taking away all the seriousness of it.
Sorry, you go.
I just want to say, did they do like the whole Trunks relationship? Because I totally forget. Did they do that in Super?
Yeah, they did. They did hint at it. Where Mayan Kid Trunks.
No, they didn't do that at all. No.
And I felt like that was funny. I don't know why the heck they took that out.
I mean, that's the point, and I think you have a good point. Like, Nathan has a really good point there, where it's just like you bring in these people to be a comedic relief character, and obviously they decided to switch gears at some point, and was like, okay, well, Jocko's actually a much funnier character. We're going to focus on him, and he's definitely canon. We're not like bringing up too much of the past, and now we just have these characters floating around. The problem is they're still relevant. I mean, they're still in the universe. I haven't seen the new episode, but it seems like, at least from the manga, they're at the tournament for whatever reason.
I can give some manga spoilers for the episode.
Are they there?
They're not there.
What the fuck?
They're not there.
It just makes no sense. Like, okay, but we're gonna move on. In terms of anything else, does anyone else have anything to say about the Battle of Gods arc?
Yes, it's just a quick question. Yeah. The Namekian Book of Legends and your thoughts on the Universe Buster. So, because I've given my thoughts, what are your thoughts on that?
Man.
Shoot.
Very disappointing. I don't know. The universe busting in the Battle of Gods arc, it should have been really cool and really, like, destructive. Like, in the Battle of Gods movie, for instance, we saw the impact of Super Saiyan gods, and pretty much the gods fighting. We saw the impact with, like, stuff blowing up, trees, you know, getting destroyed and stuff, rocks, you know, like, and I don't think we saw that in Super as much. Like, the rifts in the universe are getting cracked. Oh, so what? Like, we're not getting shown this. We're getting told it by the Kais and stuff, and it should be really big, but we don't actually be shown anything really.
They did show it. They did show the ripples in the universe being quite destructive, and they did disintegrate a planet. The main gripe is them being touted as, oh, if they keep on fighting, they're going to destroy the universe. And that kind of, you're thinking, because I guess this may be a good point to also latch on to when we talk about the Resurrection of F arc is, okay, if that's the case, then that should be the same implication or same danger, even a bigger danger, especially if Goku is going to be versing Golden Frieza later on. Just the lack of consistency truly pisses you off, and you're thinking, come on, it's 2015 going on to 2016, you can do better. You had 20 odd years to sort out a good script or something, or learn from the very successful, very interesting anime that's come out. But nope, this was so inconsistent, and yeah, you open the book of inconsistencies, which I'm sure we're going to be speaking about later on.
Do you guys want to talk about like how Trunks and Goten aren't like adult, or they haven't grown yet physically?
Well, I think that's like, I think that, I don't think that's laziness per se. I think that's just the design quirk of Goten and Trunks themselves.
Or do you think they still want to keep them as like children, or like I think, have like that old effect?
I think they want to keep them as children. I don't think anything else besides that. Now, when you bring up a lot of people argue is like, well, certain things in Super are certain ways because marketing reasons, like, oh, they're going to sell toys, they're going to do this. There's really no reason to not let them age appropriately, because if they were to age, it's a new toy that people would definitely want. I mean, I would love to have a Goten toy where he's fucking preteen, like a Gohan.
One peach of hair.
Yeah, like that would be freaking awesome. But get rid of the Goku hair and be his own person. But the problem is, it's just not going to happen. It's one of those things. It's not a big issue because honestly, I just like those characters regardless. They're just not using them very well, and they're just never going to let them age. That's fine. But if they're going to keep them around, have them be useful. If they're going to, and we're going to have to get to moving on. Besides, the last thing I want to talk about with this arc is the Namekian Book of Legends, and I hate that they brought it up in the first place because it's never going to have any bearing on anything ever. And to me, one of the most interesting aspects of Dragon Ball is the Namekian people, because apparently, especially with what Zuno said recently, is that they've probably been around since as long as Majin Buu has, and they have ties and knowledge about everything else in the universe. And to not go in and learn more about the Namekians as a whole is just really irritating to me.
I remember, like, you and Dimzy, I think, off air, were telling me about, like, that crazy little theory that you guys had. If you guys remember, about
the Namekian.
Yeah, the Namekian. I forget what it was.
I mean, we're gonna have to get to that later. Honestly,
No, I guess that adds on to the fact that the potential for the Namekians and the Namekian Book of Legends will just open the doors for such expansion on the lore of the Namekians. But yeah, they cocked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did, and we can eat our words if this stuff comes into fruition, but the way that Super's been handling itself in terms of the story and characters and the plot development, I'm pretty pessimistic that it's actually going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is actually really good, pushing into the Fukatsu no F arc of Dragon Ball Super. I know a lot of us, I think every single one of us has a whole lot of problems with the way that was handled, and the way we've already kind of mentioned the fighting and how the fighting works in terms of universe busting. But Nathan, do you want to tell us anything that you really dislike about that saga?
A lot of things, pretty much. Gotenks Gotenks not having a vital role. I didn't expect him to, because he was just comic relief, pretty much, but they should have incorporated him more. Also, Goten and Trunks just having a minor part in that arc, because people were very excited to have, Goten and Trunks in that arc. When they saw that episode preview, they got excited, but then they were just, sort of wasted in that one episode. Really disappointing stuff. Also, the choreography of the fight wasn't as great as I would have liked. It was really lackluster, actually. And this is coming from a guy that, didn't really like the fighting in Resurrection F, particularly the Goku and Golden Frieza fight. Wasn't very exciting. Also, Jocko not fighting, which annoyed me very much. But I guess they were saving that for the Universe 6 stuff. I'm not too sure. Mark, do you have any pessimistic thoughts on this arc?
Oh yeah, I mean, in terms of what could have happened versus what did happen, the thing about the Goten Trunks, honestly, Tagoma to me is just a waste of a character, a waste of space in a lot of senses, and especially bringing back Ginyu. I've already talked about how bringing him back for comedic relief just kind of not only totally took a lot of the steam out of what was going on, but also ruined potentially what Tagoma could have been or should have been into anyone else's thought process about what he should have been. And then we go on into the universe busting, Frieza versus Goku versus Vegeta and everything, and then the fact that we saw basically the exact same thing that played out in the movies, which is what we expected it to be. But honestly, everything in terms of anime or Dragon Ball in that sense, how much has Goku actually learned from that fight? And I feel like there's very little reason, especially now that we're heading towards the Universe 6 arc in the tournament, and the fact that this whole multiverse is bringing up a mirror universe with everything that's going on, is showing us that Goku will be fighting another Frieza-like character, which kind of irritates me because we just spent a couple of episodes on that and it was incredibly boring. And I know that Frost is, I'm getting way ahead of myself, but I know that Frost is someone that is supposed to be like a good Frieza, but that's basically all he is. It's like basically his entire character being, and to see Goku go up against another one of those characters and completely like underestimate him, and we know he's going to because Toei likes to spoil everything in their titles, so we know that Goku has to lose against Frost because Piccolo is going to fight Frost in the tournament. To see Goku for an entire arc have to learn one lesson, and that is to not underestimate your opponent and give it all your all before, like, without holding back. To see him immediately go and hold everything back, because we saw him in the new preview going Super Saiyan against Frost, like, to hold back and lose after you've just lost is so frustrating to me, because it like, what was the point of that entire arc if the whole lesson that was learned was completely erased in the next couple episodes?
Exactly. It pretty much, Toei and Toriyama pretty much just took a step backwards in Goku's character development. Also, Frieza in the Resurrection F arc was, like, he wasn't intimidating, he wasn't Frieza, he was a pushover, if anything, which really does annoy me. Also, Frieza training, it pretty much takes out the mystery of the character, to find out that pretty much Togama was his punching bag. That's not, first of all, it's not interesting. Second of all, it kinda doesn't completely ruin Frieza's character, but it does diminish it to a certain extent, because he's such a mysterious character, so we shouldn't know how he, like, trained. Vegeta Gypsy kept a mystery. So yeah, those are my thoughts, man. How about you, Dimzy? What do you have?
Oh, disagreements galore, because I disagree with many things. First things first, I enjoyed Captain Ginyu's inclusion. What I didn't enjoy about Captain Ginyu is the way he changed his body, because there's a full-on plot hole straight up how he wrote the words on the floor. Completely wrong, I say. I like Ginyu's character, but it's just the fact that the whole arc itself was so lackluster. Now, we are not gonna mention animation or whatever, but let's just say the general quality of these episodes, all of these episodes in the Resurrection of F arc, were complete cow shit. Because think of it like this: Frieza got he got no character development. No, he didn't learn. As Mark mentioned earlier, Goku doesn't learn a lesson of don't ever drop your guard down, don't underestimate. Cause look, that's what they foreshadow in the beginning. Hey, Whis says your main point is Vegeta, you got a chip on your shoulder. Goku, you trust too easily. What happens? Goku gets shot by a laser, and Vegeta dies because Frieza blows everything up. And you'd think, yeah, they're gonna learn the lesson, but as once again Mark mentioned, in the Universe 6 arc, it seems that Goku doesn't learn his lesson. Now, what more can I say? This arc it seemed like a filler arc, and it seemed like a forgettable arc. The pacing was completely off. It was as if they were trying their best to catch up to the manga, because Toyotaro skipped the Resurrection of F arc, so they're thinking, hey, let's just waste 14 weeks just chucking out this bullshit. We talk about choreography. The choreography for Beerus against Goku is probably one of the best in the whole series, the whole franchise. And then you see Goku versus everyone else. All the fights in the Resurrection F arc was pathetic. But yeah, I like Ginyu. I don't like the way they use Ginyu. I liked the fact that they attempted to flesh out Frieza's training, but it was the shittest training sequence you'll ever see in your life. He punches him. Okay, if you're gonna talk about his training, tell us more about it. I want to know about the training. I'm a greedy bastard. I want to know everything. But nah. Resurrection of F, the arc was a complete disappointment, a complete waste of my time, and a complete waste of the animator's time, because honestly, what was the point of even making that arc? Make it a flashback. As me and TheFrozenParticle have spoken many times off air, episode 30 of the Universe 6 arc should have been the first episode of the series. You could have bloody just completely skipped this arc. I hate the arc. Gary.
Say about this shit. So I'm reading the titles of the episodes right now, and literally, like, they're giving it out. The Earth explodes, a climactic Kamehameha wave.
Yeah.
that's just bad. One thing I want to talk about is the Gotenks. Like they really ruined that because Gotenks comes back. Was he in Super Saiyan 3 or just base?
Base. Well, he's
Yeah.
in Super Saiyan.
Yeah, Super Saiyan. That's still a very powerful form. He gets kicked in the balls and he's out, which is just so bad. Another thing was the fact that they ruined Gohan. Remember that when he was like transforming and powering up, and like he looked like he got like sucked by Casper or some shit, and then he just falls on the floor. But one thing positive that I really have about this episode was that episode that was like based around Krillin. When he was trying to fight the warriors, like I really did enjoy that. Like we even got some Roshi. Roshi was talking. He was saying like how you can see their speeds about like Cell and everything.
I have to jump in on that episode and that particular scene. Screw that scene. And the reason is, and it's really nice. It's really nice at this point to get any type of character development from any of the main cast outside of Vegeta and Goku. But the problem I have with that scene is, I can understand that Krillin has this kind of a PTSD about people that he's fought and Frieza having killed him. But the reason that's bullshit from everything else we've ever seen from anything in Dragon Ball is Krillin has never been that character. He's always up to fight someone who's incredibly way more powerful than him. And since they can actually sense power levels, and there's no way that these like weakling Frieza soldiers could ever like condense their own power level, we've never seen them be able to do that at all. Krillin shouldn't have been afraid of them. Now I know he's afraid of Frieza, but Krillin went up against everyone. He fought Majin Buu. He fought Majin Buu on the Lookout before anyone else did. I mean, like, there's just, it's not Krillin. I mean, and you can't say, oh well, he's changed in the time skip and everything because he has a family now. He had a family when they were on the Lookout, and he had someone to protect on the Lookout. It's like, that's not Krillin. That's never been Krillin. They take away this concept of who Krillin is. He's that one really weak guy who's just basically the punchline of every single Dragon Ball joke, but he's only one actually standing up. He's the only human in the entire show who stands up and fight. Not even Tien gets involved with Majin Buu until the very end.
Not even Yamcha.
Yamcha's, screw him.
Yeah, could I jump in quickly? Because you did mention the fact that, Krillin was protecting his family by, fighting, etc. He's always been up there to fight. But the thing is, the Frieza's 1,000 soldiers firstly. Why the hell does he only have 1,000? If he's the galactic overlord, why does he only have 1,000? It should be 10,000, 100,000. Secondly, we've spoken about this off air. Why was the threat level so confined to such a small area? Mm-hmm. Why the hell wasn't it a more global threat? I know this video is mainly us critiquing and showing our frustrations, venting our frustrations for Super so far, but that was probably one of the most frustrating things. You got an army. You don't send an army to go to one place and watch as there's a bit of destruction going on. You make them cause havoc everywhere possible.
Also, this sort of leads into my sort of what if? Like, what if the Frieza army, like Frieza sort of sends them to fucking pretty much destroy the Earth, and they like pretty much go to the city, go to West City or something, and then like the Z fighters are sort of confined to fight using martial arts because they can't blow them all up because there's people there. There's people can die, and I think that would create a lot of tension. Not artificial tension, but real tension. People fucking dying left, right, and center, and they need to like hurry up and stop them. That's it just creates a sense of urgency and stuff. And also, one thing I'd like to ask Mark is, what do you think about Piccolo's death?
Oh my god, I hate it so much. Okay, Piccolo dying is such a cop out. I've said this over and over and over and over again. Because it should have been Gohan, because that would have been the one thing that actually like made sense throughout the entire arc. As we've watched Dragon Ball from Dragon Ball through Dragon Ball Z, is whenever someone dies, especially for the first time or the first death in any series, it actually matters. It means something. It's emotional, and it pushes someone to do something. Now, of course, Piccolo dying pushed Gohan to kind of step up and like power up so that Goku could sense his power. That's fine, but we all knew going forward that Frieza was actually going to go there to fight Goku. And when he gets there and Goku's not there, he wants to send a message, and the way he sends that message is, Gohan's the only one I didn't kill or didn't hurt when we were fighting on Namek. He knew who Gohan was. He saw the resemblance from Gohan and Namek to Gohan now. He should have been there to kill Gohan. I know he threatens Gohan and Piccolo steps in, but the show should have actually gone through the length of killing Gohan. I know a lot of people say that this is not a good thing because actually Gohan's a new father and everything like that, but they killed Goku when Gohan was like 5 years old, and then Piccolo just kidnaps him. I mean, how have we gotten so far away from the concept of or how have we gotten so far away from the artistic style, like storytelling from the original Dragon Ball Z, that now we're just watching something so, censored or just completely not what you'd expect from Dragon Ball. There's no emotional connection in Piccolo's death. A lot of people like to say that when Piccolo died in Dragon Ball GT, it made no difference and everything, but I would argue that it meant more in Dragon Ball GT when Piccolo died than when he died in Dragon Ball Super. And it only makes me more mad it only makes me that much more mad when Goku goes off screen to revive Piccolo, especially when we're talking about earlier about the Namekian Book of Legends, and that would have been, and going to Namek would have been the most perfect time to actually bring up the Namekian Book of Legends for whatever reason. Because I've said this before, and I keep saying this, that as they go into Universe 6, and we're going to be talking about this in a second, but as they go into Universe 6, the only person who's actually going there that has a reason to be there and might be very interested to learn more about himself and his heritage, and you might think that's Vegeta and Goku with Planet Salad, but to me it's actually Piccolo, because Piccolo, they're going there for the Super Dragon Balls, and apparently the Namekian Book of Legends, they know everything. Piccolo doesn't necessarily know anything about his culture. Now, he's never really shown any interest in it, obviously, but us as the audience would really like to know more about how the Namekians actually got the power to, how did they carve off the power of the Super Dragon Balls? How do they know about the Dragon Ball or the Super Saiyan gods? How do they know about any of this stuff? And it would be really interesting to have Piccolo have a really unique character moment going forward in Dragon Ball Super in the Universe 6 arc. It's just not going to happen. He's not that important, and the problem with that is why? I mean, why kill him off? Why bring him back? Why have him compete? It's just throw Gohan in there. There's no reason not to throw Gohan in there because he has a stupid freaking conference. I mean,
well, they could be get ready to give him some heroic return to prominence, but I guess that's yet to be said. But I completely agree. Piccolo was just green shit. I don't know.
Green shit.
Yeah, just I don't know.
Alright. One thing I want to talk about, or if you guys mind,
sure,
is they changed the whole Tagoma thing. That thing was shocking. But you're telling me they couldn't change the ending or even a little bit of the fucking fight? They make Tagoma so strong and shit. He literally got beamed by Frieza, literally blew up and shit in the movie. And they make him so strong, but they have the ending the same thing as in the movie and in the saga as well.
That's the thing. All these changes that were introduced in the Resurrection of F arc were just pseudo changes. They were just changes to make you think at the moment, hey, maybe they're doing something different. But no.
It's a clickbait.
Nothing is different because you see the ending, and as Mark has ranted many times, it goes to the same stupid conclusion where nothing is learned, and all them changes accumulate to absolutely nothing, having no emotional weight or effect. So why the hell would you expend such useless amount of effort?
I mean, like we talked about earlier, it's not only that there is no point of that saga, that arc, it's that when Goku goes and obviously fights Frost and loses, because he probably is underestimating Frost like Goku always does, he always underestimates his opponent, then it really begs the question what the point of that whole arc was, and why, as Nathan said off air, and I'll let him talk about it, was why couldn't Vegeta kill Frieza?
Yeah, but I think the most important thing is if Goku sort of went into the Universe 6 arc and said, okay, I shouldn't underestimate my opponents because, this guy hypothetically could, fucking kill everyone, so I better be cautious. And if that happened, I'd be fine with Goku killing Frieza, but that didn't obviously happen. So I stress this. Why in the holy mother of fuck couldn't Vegeta kill Frieza? It would have perfectly tied the knot of, Vegeta getting revenge for his, Saiyan race. And yeah, it would have just made perfect sense. So I don't know why. Probably because to have sort of an artificial sort of meaning for Goku killing Frieza, and I don't know, it just bugs me. It really does. It's not because Vegeta's my favorite character. It's just because it just doesn't work if you look at the grand scheme of the show.
I guess what they did try to justify is the fact that when Whis did turn back time and Vegeta would have no way of knowing, or there's too little time to warn Vegeta, hey, kill him, he's gonna destroy the earth. That's why Goku got the final kill. Still a cop out. Maybe they could have found another way to make Goku kill him, but
honestly,
maybe that's why. But still, it doesn't compensate the fact that, by the way, the ending of how Frieza destroyed the earth was amazing, but it doesn't compensate or salvage the fact that this arc was shit. That's all I have to say for the arc. It was shit.
Shit.
I think we should move on to the Universe 6 arc if nobody has anything else to say.
This is probably my favorite thing right now.
Right
now.
I have to say, and I am planning on making another video about this, but I have to say, while I was really excited in the manga chapters every month to get all this stuff about Universe 6 and Team Champa and all that stuff, I have to say with Chapter 9 dropping this week, I just feel a lot worse about everything that's going on. I am starting to very much doubt the whole artistic integrity or the artistic nature of having a multiverse and having basically Universe 6 be a mirror image of everything that's going on. I hate the fact, and I'm going to throw this over to Nathan actually, but I hate the fact that we have Frost, who is basically good guy Frieza, or Kabe, who is basically good guy Saiyan race. And the fact is, it's just so lazy. I feel like it's just so lazy, and I know, like we said, we're gonna eat our words now if they actually end up explaining one thing or another, or if they go to Planet Salad or talk about more about who Frost is, his relationship to Frieza, and how he was able to transform, why they're so similar. But I just don't think they're actually going to. They're just introducing characters that we kind of understand more about their power. It's less difficult to come up with 5 different characters that are completely new, and easier to come up with 3 characters, 2 of which are basically bullshit, and one of them is probably the antagonist of the entire series. So they're just going to throw in 2 characters that we know a lot about, that they don't have to spend any time kind of explaining anything about, because you understand Kabe's power, you understand Frost's power. Okay, that's fine, now go with it, because we want to get to the fighting. Now that's fine if you're just going to deal with the fighting, but that's all Super is going to do with the tournament arc, is here's this interesting villain like Batamo, we're going to fight. Oh wait, you can't blast him so we're going to have to just throw him out of the ring. I mean, what is the point of reintroducing Frieza or reintroducing a Saiyan if not just because they're sitting there going, well, we need to fill up the slots in the tournament. Nathan, would you help me with this?
Oh, definitely, man. Okay, so Frost is the most disappointing character in the Universe 16 by far, because well, we'll get to that soon. But having the same transformations as Frieza is horrendous. I know why they did it, because it's Universe 6 Frieza, but it's still fucking lazy. Okay? And if they have a golden form for Frost, that makes it even fucking worse, because the only reason why Frieza has a golden form in the first place is to mock the Saiyans. Now, if he does have a golden form, 1, that's just fucking lazy writing, and 2, it just ruins the whole entire plot point of, Frieza having the golden form. And also, haven't we seen enough of Frieza? We had a whole entire arc dedicated to Frieza, the revival of Frieza, which got nowhere. It didn't add anything to Frieza's character, so why don't you leave that race alone? It's not going, like, I'm predicting that Frost won't really say much about the Frieza race and how it's sort of introduced. The only way I can see Frost being a decent character is if they explain that sort of the Frieza race is sort of an anomaly that shouldn't exist, and even then, it still doesn't completely save the character, and he's very disappointing. Frost, I mean, by default, he's just a good Frieza. He doesn't have any character on top of that. At least, I highly doubt it, and I think Mark agrees that he's just a good Frieza, and he's not worth, sort of focusing on. I'd much rather Hit and Kabe to be focused on, which hopefully they do, but yeah, Frost, very disappointing character indeed. Now, Dimzy, do you have any thoughts?
I'll give my thoughts. I'll pass on to Gary. Let Gary jump on.
Now, I'm looking at the Universe 6 team, okay? Now, 3 of them are very great, but as Mark said, 2 of them are shit. Like, I have no idea why they, like, have these type of designs. I think, maybe it's just, like, to shift off the fan base and stuff.
I'm sorry, it's shits and giggles. Like, Otamo and Magata are just for shits and giggles. Like, they're funny looking characters who have funny little techniques, but they're gonna walk into the ring and instantly lose and be no threat to anybody.
Yeah, I think that's kind of stupid though, like, honestly. I feel like they should have more of a power, but I feel like it's kind of fair since they have only 4 Universe 7 has 4 people.
That's just the way classic Dragon Ball tournaments work. Is like, maybe 4 of them are actually really important. So Goku, Vegeta, Hit, and Monica are really important. Everyone else is just kind of cannon fodder.
Also, one thing I want to bring up is the no stakes being raised from what it seems like
that's
in the tournament.
Gary, what you were saying?
I know you both agree on the fact that this might be like the last thing after the Super Dragon Balls, like Super's over after that.
I do believe that.
And we'll just say if that's the route, it's kind of stupid because they have so much shit that they can explore. As you said, Vados being the main villain, which I would love for a story element, or Planet Salad since Vegeta wants to, visit there. They have all these little minor things that they can touch upon or do for a story element, yet they don't go for it, and that's kind of irritating for us as fans and stuff.
I'll say this in terms of, like, one of the problems I'm actually getting, and I agree with you, like, in terms of actually having an antagonist, it's very hard for me to understand, like, why Hit, even if Hit's the main antagonist at all, it's really hard for me to probably, when you have people like Whis and Vados, who are basically, they exist only to be indestructible, where they don't even have to ever land a punch, and if they do, it's just basically like someone touching someone and they're done. Like, it's really hard for me to see that there's actually a genuine threat that can stand up to anyone, unless it's, like I've said before, unless it's one of those two, like Vados, or they just completely, they will never get involved. And we've actually seen that with Whis, like, not getting involved with the fight with Goku, but that was also like a sparring training session more than anything else. It's not a genuine threat.
Do you think they essentially, like, screwed themselves over by creating Whis and Vados for, like, story elements and stuff?
Potentially.
Because they have, like, the villains were always stronger than the main characters.
I mean, yes and no.
And then they overcome that.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, they can still, like, Hit can still be stronger than Goku and Vegeta. That's fine. He can even be stronger. He can be stronger than Champa and Beerus. The problem is we have Vados and Whis, and it's very hard for any of us to think that those two won't get involved if the universe is at stake. They obviously, unless one of them is evil, like I keep saying, they obviously have some. They obviously have some apprehension to having the universe be destroyed. It's like it's very hard to say one way or the other. In terms of talking about, did you have anything else?
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay, I do want to say, actually, before I get into this, I want to actually throw it to Gary. Did you? Not Gary. Dimzy. Do you want to have anything?
Me personally, in terms of gripes with Universe 6, the whole arc so far has been quite good. I think maybe we are still suffering from the hangover of Resurrection of F. That's why we're judging certain characters. Yes, I understand the whole character design may be interpreted as more being lazy. However, with Frost, I don't really mind it because his character hasn't been fleshed out at all. I don't think he's going to be fleshed out. But I want to see his interaction with Piccolo, because Piccolo is not going to match him in combat equally. So it's going to be more of a mental game depending on how long Piccolo lasts. Now, the way Goku eliminated Botamo, it may be an indication that, hey, maybe Goku is learning a little bit, where he's trying to get the job done quickly, but then it kind of contradicts the fact where Goku turns Super Saiyan, and I don't know why he goes Super Saiyan to against Frost, other than him mentioning how Frost is only increasing his forms sequentially, just as a barometer to measure how much potential, how strong Goku is. Maybe Goku's doing that now. Goku's measuring how strong Frost is, and if he can beat him before he goes Super Saiyan Blue. Stupid, but that's how Goku works, and that's how most shonen characters operate anyway.
Now, I just want to say, with him going Super Saiyan, isn't he doing that just to conserve more energy?
I don't know.
Or going to SSGS?
There's so many inconsistencies when it comes to conserving energy, because the whole point of Super Saiyan is that it drains energy. It's a multiplier that drains energy, but the whole point of a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan is that you keep the energy within yourself, which probably wouldn't waste energy, although Dimzy said before we were talking about this, what if conserving that energy in yourself actually wastes even more energy? And the fact that in the Cell games they actually mastered it, so even transforming might make him a little might waste a little bit of energy, but he can actually maintain Super Saiyan and everything. He's mastered it in the past. It's one of those things who the hell knows at this point?
Or I think it's just Toei that they want to go back to the old stuff.
There's no reason to.
One thing I want to bring up is, does anyone did anyone like how Goku and Botamo fought and how Goku defeated Botamo? I personally really enjoyed it. I just want to get your perspectives on it.
I enjoyed it
very much so. I feel like a lot of people.
Very strategic way.
I enjoyed it. Sorry, just to quickly mention about the characters. Both you guys mentioned how, yes, we have 2 out of the 5 characters for Universe 6 are pretty much carbon copies, but with different personalities of characters which have been established. Don't you think that's nice? Because if you have 5 completely different characters who are going to be fleshed out in a short period of time,
but that's
which is the tournament.
No, okay, I have to say no on that, because the point is everyone. This is why everyone's gripe or kind of defending against Dragon Ball Super is coming into play, and it's something that Nathan and I think vehemently agree on, is the fact that everyone thinks okay, Toriyama has created this new universe with enough story potential to lead us into the next decade. But I know Nathan and I have talked about this time and time again, is it's not going to go further than this tournament and looking for the Super Dragon Balls. Now, that's Toriyama. I think we both agree that it's Toriyama's involvement, not Toei's, and Toei can take this and do whatever they want. But in terms of what Toriyama's doing, what he's setting up, him reintroducing 2 carbon copy characters with just the most very basic surface level of difference, being one is evil and one is good. Literally, that is the difference between both of those characters. Both of those, either the Saiyan race or Frieza's character. And reintroducing those simply for the audience like us. It's not even fan service. It's just look, we understand you know who Frieza is. We understand that you know what the Saiyans are. Now, here they are. We don't have to explain them. It's just another way for this whole series to be okay, yeah, we can sweep this under the rug really very quickly and just get into fighting. And now, now when we have it going into the tournament arc, we're just gonna have really cool fights. But when the tournament arc ends, these characters and the other 2 characters who are basically just Botama and Magata, who are basically just cannon fodder, along with Kabe and Frost. At this point, at least in my head, we only have Hit, who's basically emerging as the default antagonist, who's going to probably be beaten or interrupt the tournament arc or something like that. But, we were told we're going to get brand new characters. And we did. And we haven't seen these guys before, but it's we kind of know where they're going to go and how far they're going to go. They are not strong. They're not enough to challenge anyone. They're not smart enough to challenge anyone. So when Hit either comes up and becomes the antagonist, or they just beat him in the tournament arc, it's going to end. I mean, I don't understand how everyone's sitting there going, okay, well, we're going to go to Planet Salad, and then we're going to learn more about Frost, and then we're going to do this and that and this. Like, the fact that they're there tells me that we're not getting anything more. There's nothing to explain. We know who the Saiyans are. We know who Frost is. There's nothing to explain, and those are the only characters worth exploring.
Agreed. That's the thing, because they're worth exploring. Because in my head, I do think maybe there's potential for them to go further than the Universe 6 tournament. Of course, with or without Toriyama's involvement is questionable. But yes, they have the most potential to be explored because there's that sense of familiarity. Does that mask that they've been quite lazy? No, they are completely lazy for the fact that, hey, Frieza, let's recolor him, blah blah blah, make him nice guy. But at the same time, the whole what if fan service dynamic is quite nice. But it's still too soon for me personally to judge whether there have been disappointments or not. I know I may be alone in this, but I kind of enjoy a lot Frost transformations.
I mean, personally,
guys, push down the pitchforks. I know Nathan doesn't like it, but yeah.
I'm not.
Just think about it like this, lads. Oh, you go, Gary.
No, you go, man. You go.
No, Gary.
No, you go.
I'm not really disappointed
go.
on the fact that Frost has Frieza's transformation. But one thing I want to talk about like, this whole counterpart stuff. I think they did it way too much. Like, they've done a lot of it. I think they should have just kept it at Beerus and Whis and Vados and Champa. Not having Frost and, like, I wouldn't say Kaba, but, just having the same similarity and this whole counterpart stuff.
Agreed. The whole...
It's like, it's too much.
Also think about it like this, like, Dragon Ball Z, you don't really see any carbon copy characters, and everyone is, like, unique. They might have similar properties, like the regeneration, for example, but every one of them is unique in design, and I think that's one point which Super is not getting right, which is very disappointing, but oh well.
I feel like, okay, this is one thing I've been kind of griping about very recently in terms of Dragon Ball Super and basically the entire story arc that it's decided to go for its last arc, or this arc that's kind of going to branch off and do everything else. Something that it actually really could have avoided up until mostly the entire series up until this point, with Beerus at the beginning of the Battle of Gods arc not actually telling Goku that he was the 7th god of destruction in 12 universes, having omitted that from the entirety of the arc, despite it being in the movie, and not necessarily seeing Champa and Vados at all, or the Elder Kai and Kabuto Kai actually talking about them on the Supreme Kai planet. The thing is, the whole concept of multiverse and these interdimensional things and the whole rule of 13, when it comes to those things, I feel like with the whole twin universes and the fact that there seems to be no connection between any other universes besides 7 and 6 is very limiting to the whole concept of having 12 universes. I mean, why not just have 2 universes? Why have 12? It makes me feel like, because there's no really genuine connection for the entirety of the 12 universes, it's just another point to put out there that we're never actually going to see any of the other 10 universes, and there's probably no way to get there. Obviously, Vados and Whis know about those universes, but there's no actual evidence right now that would suggest that they can actually get from one universe to another. Obviously, they can move in between their own twin universes because not only are they right next to each other, but also they have like tangible connections to those universes, be it Whis or Beerus. And the problem with this is, going forward, is what antagonizing force could there possibly be to explore in Universe 6 if no matter everyone we've ever met in Universe 7 is just a really bad guy, and besides the Namekians, which I do think the Namekians are evil in Universe 6, but even if there was a Majin Buu-like character in Universe 6, being a mirror image, he would be a good guy. Who is left in a mirror image of Universe 7 to compete with Goku and Vegeta that we haven't met yet, or just in any sense of the word. I mean, like, who do we know? No one, unless they completely introduce a new character, which would be fine. But I mean, everything we've seen from Universe 6 is not antagonizing. It's a really nice, peaceful universe, and there is no stake. And there's actually better for Earth to go and live in Universe 6. It seems like.
Agreed. In terms of the whole mirror version, maybe that may not be the exact case because it hasn't been explicitly stated.
It was stated.
Mirror, but in terms of mirror, I'm talking about, you know, evil, good, evil. Like for every, if someone's evil, they'll be good there.
But look at all the evidence that we have for it.
Champa and Beerus.
Like, yeah, Champa's fat, Beerus is skinny, Varus is a girl.
Yeah, but then, but the main point is that, does that mean that one, for every evil one, you're gonna have, like, personality-wise, would they be completely different? Because Champa and Beerus are very, very similar in terms of personality. But then again, they're touted as being siblings.
They're very similar, but they're also. But Beerus is definitely more destructive than Champa is. He's actually he seems to be like a nicer, more gentle version of Beerus, where he's not so quick to blow things up, and he doesn't want to do it himself. And then we have the Saiyans, who are just nothing but a bloodthirsty race that was obliterated by Frieza, being the nice planet who goes and basically the superhero for the universe. And same thing with Frieza. I mean, everything that we've already talked about these characters who are basically just carbon copies of each other, but with the very most basic differences. And those differences are, look, this person's good now, or look, this society is good now. And I mean, it is a really good point to make that, or I think it's a good point to make that, I mean, shouldn't that be uniform throughout the entire universe if they're going to do this? Now, they didn't have to do this. They could have had, oh, well, you know, the Saiyans are still there, but they're not like weak. Like, they're really powerful. And I think that would have actually been a really cool concept, because they're not good, but they're not weak. Because the Saiyans were like, we've heard of, like, oh, Saiyan's the most powerful race in the universe, when really they're really weak in comparison to everyone that we met. What if they were bad, but they were actually, like, legitimately the strongest beings in the universe? I mean, who knows?
So what is your gripe with Universe 6? Oh, sorry, Nathan. No, I'm just asking, you know, what's the gripe with Universe 6? You know, is there anything else?
I just wanted to say, like, I really agree with Gary and Dimzy's point about, I feel like the twins should be confined to the gods, because then that way it would be some sort of structure between all of the universes, and it would have been, you know, just nice. I don't know. I just really like that idea.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up, dude. Didn't the Kaioshins unfuse today?
Yes.
Now, you know, showing that, it's somewhat hinted towards Vegito, and that's like another route that they're not probably going to go down. So I feel like why the hell would they do that then? It's kind of stupid. It's like that whole legendary Namekian book thing.
Yeah. I mean, Nathan and I made a video about this a little while ago. It just feels to me, and like we've said before in this video and every time, like, I think I will gladly eat my words on all this, but the fact of the matter remains that there's just no reason. Like, they're promising a lot. They're not necessarily promising, they're just bringing up a whole lot that they're never going to explain or develop or anything like that. And it just, I think that's the underlying most frustrating thing when it comes to the story as a whole.
So what, we just pretty much saying that Dragon Ball Super so far has been...
No, Dragon Ball Super shit.
And it's been so far...
I think the genuine point of this video that we're trying to make, and I know it's been a long one so far, but the one thing we're actually talking about is whether or not Super is good or bad, we as fans are very genuinely involved with it. I mean, this is a series that we grew up with. This is a series that we've we've analyzed to the point of exhaustion, a lot of us, and just kind of talking about it with amongst our friends or amongst YouTube in general. We really much appreciate the series, and we're going to find something good with it no matter what, be it this is cool, this is a great idea, I can't wait to see or hope that they go on with this, the Namekian Book of Legends or whatever. But that doesn't mean that when we watch it, we are praising it, or we have these delusions about whether it's perfect or it's the best show out there. It's obviously not, and it has so many problems with it that we have to kind of force ourselves to watch it sometimes. It's not that we're just falling over ourselves every single week to watch Dragon Ball Super or discuss it. In fact, sometimes it's really very difficult. And I think that's the one thing that's lost among fans and just the general public, or the people who don't even make these videos and see us like covering it, reviewing every episode or anything on religiously or talking about it religiously, is they feel like we're fanboys who aren't giving it its due credit, or aren't either giving it its due credit or its due criticism. And that's what this video is here to do. It's like we're trying to give it its due criticism. It's not a perfect series, and it has way more problems than it has good thus far, but it's so nice to have the series back and to get new content. Do y'all have anything else to say?
Nah, I'll just add on the fact that Dragon Ball Super is what? An amalgam of shortcomings, a glass that's half full. It's potential that hasn't been utilized properly, and we're not gonna praise it as you pretty much summarized it, and there's far too many things that were wrong with it. However, I want to say that I think that the main phase of shortcomings, of failed potentials, or pure disappointment has been, we've been past it, because the main source of disappointment for me, I don't know about you guys, was the resurrection of F arc, that forgettable filler crap arc. Not filler, but it felt like a filler. Is it? I think it's going to improve. Hopefully it does. And if it doesn't, I'm going to shit on it. Let's hope it does. Let's just hope it does.
Nathan?
Yeah, I think Dragon Ball Super is trying so hard to be sort of combination of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. And to its credit, it sometimes works, and it's really like great. Like the slice of life episodes, fantastic stuff. But sometimes it just falls flat. That's pretty much all I have to say, man.
Gary?
For Dragon Ball Super, my overall thoughts on it is that it does have 98% of it's bad, but like some of the stuff's enjoyable. Like the first episode, I really did enjoy that. Like the whole scene with Goten and Goku when they're like, doing all that tractor stuff. But what I have to say is that I think Toei should really get on their shit to fix stuff, because they're fucking us over essentially. And that's pretty much what I have to say.
Alright guys, well, great. I feel like we've actually kind of beaten this to death. Obviously, like Dimzy and Gary have both said throughout this video, and Nathan and I believe this too, but we will have to wait and see how the rest of Super plays out, whether it's going to end soon or in a decade, we don't know. But the thing is,
I give it 20 weeks.
Something like that. So we don't necessarily know at this point, but we're really excited to see what comes forward, and we will be criticizing it every step of the way, just because we're fans and we expect the best from the series that we love. So with that being said, I hope that you guys like the video if you've gotten this far. Please definitely go check out all three of these guys. Their channels are going to be links in the description below. They make really good content, a lot of different content outside of Dragon Ball as well. Just go look for yourself and you'll see these guys are really good. They're definitely worth hitting that subscribe button. So with that being said, I hope everyone has a nice day, and I think that's it.
Yeah. And be sure to watch this on 20 different computers, and be sure to give it 20 different thumbs up.
Exactly. Alright. Bye guys. Hey YouTubers, and today we're gonna okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey YouTubers, and today come on, fuck my life. I got this.
Hello guys, welcome back to yet another fuck.
Hello, and oh shucks, my bad.
And last we have Gary, formerly BGY or B fucking
This fucking recording's gonna take like 4 hours. Jesus fucking Christ.